3, 2, are you ready?
The CJ Howard Show. Now let's go to CJ Howard. I'm back. Hello, everybody, and welcome to season number 5, episode number 1 of the CJ Howard Show. We are live from my apartment in Hazard, Kentucky, as we get set for another big season of the CJ Howard Show with you here on Sunday nights. Got a lot of good ideas. Don't know how many of them I'll actually get to do, but got some plans and some ideas. And if I can get some people to work with me, and we may take the show on the road. So we're thinking about doing some fun things this season. Got a great show for you tonight as we're back with you. Excited. Football season starts on Friday night. Scrimmage is over. Practice is over. It's time to get it all rolling on Friday night. We got a lot of games we'll talk about, and we'll get to that too. Got a blockbuster co-host. We'll get to him in just a moment. But if you want to listen to us, you watch us, you can do that. You can go to the CJ Howard Show page. You can go to my Facebook page. You can go to YouTube. Go to the D&D Sports Network. You can watch us in those 4 spots. And if you're watching, we want you to share and let other people be a part of the CJ Howard Show as well. If you want to give us a phone call, I can talk to you. And if there's any questions you want to ask Thomas, I'll have to relay them back until we can get the issue fixed. But the phone number is at the bottom of the screen, but it's 502-849-9320. Well, leave your comments. I do want to hear from you guys. Leave me your comments. We're going to focus on a lot more leave comments this year. I want to hear from you guys. I want to know what's on your mind. I want to know what you're thinking. Hopefully, we'll have a lot of good comments like we did last year. Okay, as I said, we got a tremendous co-host. I'll get to him in just a moment. I want to get to my guest list tonight. We're going to have with us in about 10 minutes. We're going to talk to our head football coach, Matt Chandler. We're going to talk to him once. We talked to him right there before the season ended last year when he first got hired. We wanted to just meet the meeting. Now we're going to really dive into what he's been doing with the Bulldogs. A bit bigger roster. We're playing some decent football. Y'all know Hazard's got to stay healthy, and if they are, they're going to be a mean team out on the field. John Henson's going to join us at 8:30. John's our local man for the 13th Region Queen. We're also going to ask him what he thought, what his thoughts were on the trip, changing his mind, coming to the University of Kentucky. We'll ask him about the new Harlan coach and the new Harlan County coach. I got a chance to watch Harlan County play Wesley County in scrimmage the other night on the Eagles' Nest, and Harlan County looked pretty good. They've changed offenses. It's a lot different than team. 9 o'clock, we're going to be joined for the first time ever by Brandon Brewer, the new head football coach of the Bath County Wildcats. If you know Brandon Brewer, you've heard that name. Used to be Prestonsburg's head football coach. He is now the new head football coach of the Bath County Wildcats. We will talk to him at 9 o'clock. And at 9:30, Armando Berry will join me. Armando, we got a lot to talk about with him. They're having their pigskin preview Thursday night, 7 o'clock on WYMT TV. Check that out. We'll talk to him more about that. Some of the teams that we want to keep our eye on, and some players we need to keep our eye on as well. And also, we've got 11 new coaches in the mountains. 11. So we're going to try to talk about that as well. You get all 11. Some of them a little surprising, and some of them I think we're wanting just the scenery change. So we'll get from that as well. My co-host tonight, you know him well. He's one half of the best streaming network in the land, the D&D Sports Network. They do such great work, as I always tell them. And Thomas Rainey is the man behind the camera, behind the mic, behind anything. And to be really honest, this man is probably one of the most creative artists in putting stuff together that I've ever seen. And it's good to have Thomas with us. Thomas, great to have you with us.
Well, thank you, CJ. I joke it has to be a big game before they let me out. They won't let me out of the house anymore. I do all the behind the scenes stuff now. So, but I love it. Love every minute of it. And thank you for having me on the show. Love getting on here talking sports, man. That's what it's all about.
Yeah, it's been a while since we've talked any sports. We was with you there right before Easter. Baseball had a good baseball season. Really, really entertaining baseball season. Our mountain teams, we didn't bring no state championships home. We did have one softball team make it to the championship game of the softball, and that was North Laurel. But they ended up losing. I should have wrote that in my notes, but they were the only mountain team that made it to the championship game. Of course, UK baseball, what a ride they had.
Absolutely.
It's been a great summer. We've had Olympics, really entertaining. Now that the Olympics is over, we're getting back to our sport. Baseball's been red hot lately. A lot of the sports that were at the Olympics are starting to get back up. We saw the WNBA went back into action on Thursday night. Golf is back. NASCAR is back, and tennis and everybody. So if you just love sports, you know that it's that time of year. But it's also this time of year in the mountains here, and it's Christmas, as everybody would say. Next Friday night, everybody's going to be opening presents of any kind because it's showtime. You know, no more practices, no more 5-a-days, no more July. You know, it's showtime now, Thomas, because you got to buckle up. It's time to play. If you can't play now,
strap up, right? Buckle that chin strap up. We're ready to go. And you know, it's not just high school football Friday night. You know, for us, it's middle school football. We cover a ton of middle school football. And, you know, our focus this year, hey, it's volleyball season too,
Yep.
You know, and with the success that we've had at UK and volleyball, you know, opened a lot of eyes about high school volleyball. So we're excited. Actually looking to do, we're going to have a volleyball game of the week, and we're also going to have a middle school girls basketball game of the week.
Oh, that's going to be exciting. You'll be keeping our eyes open for that as well. Now joining us is the new, well, I still call him the new head football coach of the Hazard Bulldogs. He's still new. Coach Matt Chandler with us of the Hazard Bulldogs. Coach, great to have you with us.
Thanks. I appreciate you guys having me on. It's hard to believe we're sitting here going into the first week of the season already.
Oh yeah. We talked to you back in January, and then you're excited then as much as you're excited now. Your team's come a long way, and you'll be honest. You've had people come and go. But you know the biggest. I think the big picture with your team was this team's. You know, Coach Howard did a great job. You know, you got some big shoes to fill. But you know, injuries were the tall tale for Hazard last year. So many injured people, couldn't keep the same 11 on the field at all times, and it's hard to compete when you can't do that. What have you seen from when you first got here to now, and what makes you really excited about this Bulldog team? I know your scrimmages have went pretty well. I think you've been pretty evenly killed with how you played, and you got a great freshman group that everybody loves to talk about.
Yeah, you know, we've put in a lot of work. You know, the injury prevention part of it, is big for any 1A team. We've noticed a lot of the work that we put in the weight room has helped that some. Guys are stronger, they're more physical, and then we take a more new school approach to some things in practice. We don't spend a lot of time just running into each other in practice and doing those things because we want to be healthy for Fridays. We want to do absolutely everything we need to do to prepare to win, but we also want to take care of each other during the week. So, I've kind of made the point to our kids that, as long as you guys continue to play as physical as you have in the scrimmages, we don't have to do that during the week and go huge long team periods in full pads. And as long as they continue to do the things they've done, we'll be able to do that, and that should help us stay healthy.
We talked about last year how Max was, he hurt his ankle in the Bell County scrimmage. I didn't really think that he was the same the whole year. He set out 3 or 4 games because of the ankle injury. He's had an opportunity to heal that injury, and it seems like to me that maybe he's back maybe on the mend because he's starting to play quarterback the way you need him to. I know you come from a place in Franklin County where you have high-power offense, great athletes, and you've got to get your kids to play to your level. How have you been able to apply that?
We've been very, very similar in approach. And relatively speaking, we've got a similar group personnel wise. We've got a bunch of kids who can run, who are really dangerous when they get the ball in their hands. We've leaned on our screen game. And, we've just tried to practice really fast so that we can play as fast as we want to. And our kids have really bought into, even back in June, learning the offense, getting a ton of reps every day, throwing the football, getting in formations and trying to learn our system. We try to build off everything formation and play wise in our system so that when we want to do something a little bit different week to week, it's not a totally foreign concept to them. And they've done a really good job with that so far. So that's allowed us to really be versatile. We try to be in a bunch of different formations, use some motions and shifts to get things done while trying to be simple in the concepts that we do run.
I noticed I was looking at your roster, and I've got your roster. And this is not your full roster because they don't have your freshmen listed. And I know you probably have 10, 12 plus freshmen, maybe a few more than I'm. But the kids you did have returning, they have all of those down here, plus your freshmen. Tell me how your freshman is coming along this summer. I know they're highly talked about because you don't.
Yeah.
You're not under a rock.
They are, right. We're a freshman DN. We're starting 2 freshman tackles. And, that was something that my biggest takeaway from the Bell County game was our freshmen did not look physically matched in that game. They had some moments where you could tell that you had first guys playing against older kids, but especially up front, I thought our 2 tackles and our defensive end, who are all 3 freshmen, held up really, really well. Caden Brewer is the D end, and then Gannon Mullins and Isaac Begley. Those 3 guys are all starters up front for us. And then, William Shoptaw has taken a bunch of reps at quarterback, has looked really good. Just a number of guys in that young group who, really were dedicated in the weight room, and now they're out here in starting or big time roles for this team, and they don't look out of place at all. So I'm really proud of those guys. And when you're able to add those freshmen to what you return in 1A football, even with average 1A numbers, you end up being deeper than you realize because out of the guys on your roster, you've got a significant number of guys who can play and help you.
Okay. No question about that. You talked about your one thing that you do have that you didn't have, that Coach Howard didn't have last year, depth. You've got a little more depth. He didn't, and it really hurt them last year because, like I said, they never had the same 11 players on the field at all times because injuries, people be out because of sickness. And it was just not. I mean, they tried their hardest. They played hard, but they just never could get any traction. And then your schedule don't help you any either.
No, we got, schedule is more manageable, and I'm like, we open up with Martin County this week, and you put the film on and you look at those guys and you look at what they did last year. I would like for somebody to tell me the definition of manageable because we're going to have our hands full, and then we go to Harlan County next week, and that's always a tough place to play. We come back home to play Paris, who's going to be really good. We saw them in some 7-on-7, and then, we got Letcher at home in a big game, and then you go to the Riverbank. And that's just the first half. That's not getting to, Raceland, Pikeville, and Corbin, among others, on the back half. But, one thing about Hazard and Hazard kids is once they get confident and once they have some success, they start to believe. And when they start to believe, I'll go out with those guys against any odds.
Well, CJ, if I can jump in,
go ahead.
That's the key on 1A. It's all about numbers. 1A, so many kids are playing both ways. They're playing offense, they're playing defense. When you get those numbers up and you have such a great incoming freshman class. Not to take nothing away from those older kids, but now, like you said, you're adding depth. Whereas if an injury, you're bringing in a kid maybe that's probably in a year or so maybe better than the kid playing in front of him. So I think that's the key is just getting all those kids to buy in. So many times young stars, let's face it, come in as eighth graders and they want to start right away. And
right.
The best thing about a freshman is they become a sophomore, right? Wasn't that Dick Vitale said that years ago? So you want to talk a bit about
keep having birthdays. That's the best player development ever is keep having birthdays.
Yeah. Yeah, there you go.
But no, we're in a really good spot right now, man. Going into week one, we've made some changes and we leaned on some of those freshmen. And Kenyon Higgins is a kid who played left tackle and defensive end last year. And we went to him a couple weeks ago and we said, it really helped the team if we could plug in another freshman at tackle and let you at least start one way. And he completely embraced that. He's playing, with a great motor and a great effort on defense. So we're going into week one, and out of our starting 5 on offense and our 3 starting defensive linemen, we don't have any guys starting both ways. And that's been huge. It's been huge from a practice standpoint. Last week, Coach Corey Martin, our defensive line coach, when we were on Team O, took his starting 3 defensive line and got extra D-line Indy time with them. And we just ran another group as the scout. So we've been really intentional with that to help develop that depth, and it's really worked so far.
Oh, absolutely.
You got a couple of kids that I remember from last year's team that really you have to keep them on the field. And that's Gavin Johnson and Memphis Blankenship. Memphis got hurt back in week 6, never did come back. That was really hard for the team, and plus they lost the Davison kid week. Was it 4, 3? I don't remember when he got hurt, but he was out for the rest. These injuries really hurt Hazard last year. I feel like if you can stay healthy, that this could be a bounce back Hazard season, one that everybody expects.
Yeah, and those are definitely 2 big pieces. Memphis is a kid who's he is a 2-way starter. He's starting at linebacker and he's starting at running back. And he's we've tried to bring a couple of kids on to kind of get him a break on offense because he's so good for us on defense that we can't really afford to take him off the field over there. He's ran the ball so well, but it's one of those things where to keep us fresh and to keep him fresh and not have to take him off on defense, we've had Jadrian Mills, who's a sophomore, carrying it some, and he and Memphis are a great 1-2 punch in the backfield. They, Memphis had a really good scrimmage last night. He ran, I think he had 6 carries for 40 yards, and we only, we played the 1/2 of varsity. And so those guys have been huge, and Gavin is he's so explosive. Being able to get the ball to him in the screen game, and then being able to try and formation ourselves into getting him one-on-one is a big part of our offense.
And also, you are in a good place too, because you had kids that have played before. Last year, they only had 1 or 2 kids that have played any varsity minutes. Period. They spent the whole year trying to get them experience, but then they end up getting hurt. You don't seem to have that problem, Coach, because you seem to have a lot of depth. You got most every one of these kids I know, so they got varsity experience. That shouldn't be a problem for you if you just keep them healthy.
Yeah, and that's the big key is staying healthy. And like I said, we do a lot of things intentionally. We're still lifting 2 days a week, which everybody, the studies show and everything else. That's a huge part of injury prevention is to continue to lift in the season. And like I said, we're very intentional with what days we go full pads, what days we go only helmets. And as a head coach, that's been one thing that I've had to get used to is trying to kind of, have an idea of the pulse of the team in the locker room and knowing when guys are a little beat up and when we need to pull back a little bit and when they need to push them. And our kids have responded to all that really well. They're very, very much ready for Friday. Several of them on the bus last night were talking about that it's going to be such a long week waiting on Friday night to get here. So I think we're ready to go.
talk a little bit about Martin County. They're coming over there, I think, opening night. New quarterback for them, and Devin Maynard should be a different little wrinkle in their offense. What are you expecting out of Martin County?
They're going to be physical like they always are, and Devin Maynard is a very good football player. He's, I've talked to people about Martin County through the scrimmages, that was the one thing people told me was this kid can be a real problem at quarterback, and you turn on the film, and that's absolutely the case. When he gets out of the pocket and gets that freedom to make some plays happen, he can be really dangerous, and that's one thing that we have to try and prevent, because not only is it, obviously you don't want production out of that position, but when things break down and a quarterback can make plays, it gets very frustrating for a defense. And before you know it, you're out of sync, and you're not playing your responsibilities, and it can be a long night for you. And then, as traditionally Martin County, Sheldon Clark, as they used to be, they're very good up front. They're big, they're physical. More spread stuff right now on offense than they have been because of the quarterback, but they'll still get under center and get in some big sets and running at you when they feel like they need to.
You think of Martin County, you think of Smash Mouth. Let's face it.
Absolutely.
I mean, that's what they're going to do. They're going to run some more.
Yeah, and they have that ability still. They've shown some of that, and they're even more dangerous now, like I said, with a really good athletic quarterback.
Exactly.
Of course, people don't know Martin County's offensive coordinator is the new head football coach at Prestonsburg. Yeah. So probably that's why they spread it out a little more. Coach Muncie probably took over the reins, and they're now doing a lot more of what you'll see. Prestonsburg run a lot of the same stuff that Martin County does. So that'll be interesting to see. Coach, I got one more question, and Thomas has got anything left for you. How I know that this team is still got a lot of progress to go, but and this being your first year, what have you set the goal for? I know that you want to set. I know Kroger Field's the goal for every football team, but for a team that only wins one game, no games, those type of teams, you have to sort of give them a goal they can achieve. And then maybe you can achieve more. What have you been able to do with that?
Our kids, I'm really blessed to be in a position where I'm at a program that it's a little bit different than going 1-10 in some other places. The tradition and the history here is so great, and it's not lost on our kids. And they're really hungry to get Hazard football back to where it should be and where it's always been. And they kind of know that. They know the standard and they know the expectation. So when we go in and we talk about things that, whether it's this year or down the road or whenever, when we talk about competing at the highest level for region titles and state titles, they have at least some understanding of what that looks like and what it takes. And as far as their goals right now to get there, I tell them all the time, we're just trying to win every day. If you can go out and try to win every single day, whether it's practice or games, eventually you're going to make enough progress to get yourself in a position where you got a shot. We want to be competitive in every game, and we want to represent our community in a way that it's supposed to be represented through this football program. And we really just want to get Hazard back to a point where when people see the guys with the H on their helmet and the Hazard across their chest, that there's a little bit of fear and a little bit of nervousness when you got to play us.
Thomas?
Oh no, I'm just excited to see the new look Hazard. I mean, anytime a new coach comes in, things changes. So I'm excited, and I'm excited to see. We covered a lot of middle school over in Perry County last year between Perry Central and Hazard. So a lot of those kids you're talking about, people already know from D&D Sports. They saw them at an early age. So working those new pieces into the experience you had, I think you said it best. It's going to be tough with the schedule you all got. They didn't do you no favors, Coach.
No, they didn't. But, it's one of those things, too. I've started, we've almost got 25, 26 done, and not just Hazard, but Pikeville, and, all the traditionally really good Eastern Kentucky 1A schools. It's tough to schedule because you're traditionally successful and nobody, really wants to play. and all of the local 1A schools are teams that you could potentially see, whether it be in your own district and you're already playing them or in the playoffs. So you kind of, your hands are tied a little bit with scheduling, and that's how you end up sometimes with a really difficult schedule.
Yeah, but I mean, it's going to make you better in the end. It's all about,
Absolutely.
we say it all the time, building to the end of the season and getting ready to make that playoff run. And it's going to help getting those youngsters in early on and getting these kids that don't have, like CJ said, coming back from injuries that maybe didn't have the experience, getting them in, building their confidence up and showing them, Hazard's always been that tradition-rich program and just getting it back to what everybody thinks of when they think of Hazard. So, best of luck to you, Coach. Good things going to happen over for the Bulldogs.
I appreciate it. And before I go, I want to give a shout out to our middle school team. They went to Boyle and played Lincoln yesterday and got a huge win. They won 37-0. So they started the season 1-0, and that I'm really, really excited about that group. There's a 7th and 8th grade group that has all the pieces that I think when you look at our freshman group and sophomore group for the next few years, they all kind of fit. So we're really excited about those guys too.
Well,
if you can get us a copy of that schedule, Coach, we'd appreciate it. I've been trying to get their schedule to finish filling out our schedule for middle school.
That also don't forget about your 5th and 6th grade team, Coach. You got some dandy kids in the 5th and 6th grade. Yep. I heard one parent say they saw one of the kids and he was a big tall kid, athletic, just smoking kids. It was like, oh, that kid must be 8th grader. No, that's 5th grader. Yeah. I was like, what?
Yeah.
Kids are.
Our 3rd, 4th, and 5th and 6th grade teams they've been working hard. Man, it's so cool to see those guys out there having fun with a game of football, and there's a good group, and we've got a lot of people supporting those kids in our youth program, and there's a good feeling in the community that if we can keep those kids together, that'll be a big part of another really good run for us in the years to come.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Well, Coach, best of luck to you and the Bulldogs this coming season. I know you'll do a good job. Got big shoes to fill, but I think you're up for the challenge because you come from a program in Franklin County. Listen, you guys have Kroger Field expectations every year, and I know you're going to bring those type of expectations to Bulldogs.
Appreciate it, guys. I'll talk to you all later.
All right, thank you, Coach. Coach Matthew Chandler of the Hazard Bulldogs as they get set to play Martin County come this Friday night. You can listen to that game on WHGS Power 101 come up Friday night. Or one of the stations, you can listen to WJMD or the WHGS 102 will have the game for you. Thomas, I didn't really ask him. I was going to ask him about Maddox, but I felt like maybe this is not the time. But let's talk about Maddox a moment. Great athlete. The people here in Hazard were excited for him when they knew he was going to be a freshman this year. Circumstances happened. Things happened. He transferred to Johnson Central, and now is really becoming a big part of Johnson Central's football program. This is a young man that's really great in wrestling. And we also know Johnson Central for wrestling. The late Jim Matney, some of the best wrestling programs in the world, in not just in the state, but throughout the nation. But tell me what you think Maddox is going to bring to Johnson Central, because they did have some kids come back, but they don't have the speed as Maddox has got. We saw you guys covered him a lot last year. You know how good he is.
Yeah, and I'm glad you didn't because, listen, whether you like it or don't like it, you want to you go back to the old school ways. Transfers are here to stay. I mean, it is what it is. It's a part of sports. And, the way I look at it, I wish him the best, wherever he goes, and I'm sure the folks in Hazard feel the same way. There's probably a few that's mad, but, he had to do what was best for him, and that's where he thought he needed to be. He's just the speed, the power for an 8th grader. He was on a different level than most people last year. So I really think he's going to be a difference maker. Not so much this year because, guys, listen, I'm sorry. It is hard for a freshman to come in, especially on football, and just be the impact player he was at the 8th grade. Now, as he continues to get stronger and get bigger, he's going to be a difference maker. He's be one of the backs you talk about years to come. Kid's got a world of potential.
Yeah, he does, and I think he's gonna make a big impact this year. Because John Central, their backfield is open. There's some open spots back there. They did have some graduation, but they had a lot of their kids come back. I've noticed a lot of preseason polls. They're ranked 5th, 6th, 7th, or 4th, 5th, most of all polls because a lot of people believe they're back. But 4A football until you can beat Boyle. Everybody else is just a footnote on the newspaper because
it's different. I mean, it's different. That's a different level too, coming from 1A to 4A. So, best of luck.
Well, new realignment just got voted in 2 weeks ago. We know for a fact that the Belfry Pirates are going from 3A to 2A. You talk about a major shift in the measuring stick. I thought Belfry could have went up. They could have went down. They chose to go back down. And listen, Coach Haywood, they need to play some 2A football. And it's going to be back to the old days where I was looking at that district. It's going to be them, Shelby Valley, Martin County, Prestonsburg, and I can't remember the 15. But wow, that blows my mind. And that's in 2025.
Well, I don't think it's they elected, CJ. I think under the new rule, you can't play up, is what I've been told. Now, I don't know if that's accurate. And I think Belfry's been playing up for a couple years. They've had 2A numbers. So I think it'll be important. It'll be interesting to see. Now, that doesn't take effect till next year. There's still 3A next year. But, boy, does it change the face of 3A.
Yeah, because Letcher Central is another team that's moving from 4A to 3A.
Yeah.
And I think that's going to be a big beneficial thing for them because they're going to take Belfry's spot in the district, which will be Estill, Letcher, Rockcastle County. Not Rockcastle County because Rockcastle and Bell are still. I've got them over here. We'll go over in the weeks to come.
Lawrence, Estill, and McGoffin, right?
Yeah.
They'll be the three. But you talk about travel time. I mean, look at Lawrence County and Estill County all the way to Letcher on a Friday night. I mean, that's a long way to go.
And I saw also that Wolf County is in the process of putting a football team together.
I saw that. Saw some photos of some new sports facilities, baseball and football being built.
I know they're going to have a soccer team this year for the first time. So I think they built the field because they're going to try to get enough kids out that they're going to try to football. None district schedule, just maybe 6-7 games, just to see how they do and see how their kids like the sport, which I think they'll do very well because Wolf County has some pretty big kids in their school, as we've saw in the past. I want to mention a couple of things. Want to give a shout out to Coach Haywood. I told him that I would always do this as long as I'm doing the show. Do not forget about his books. He's got 2 of them.
Yeah.
Family, Faith, and Football. Also, his new one. It's not as new now, but it's still partially new if you ain't read it. Climbing the Mountain. You can get both of these books if you will go to CoachPhilipHaywood.com or go to Amazon, and you can check them out there and be able to get a copy of that book, and I think you would really love the read. Want to give a shout out to AMW Wrestling last night. Couldn't be there for some purposes, but they finally did get the event in last night. They didn't get to have all the matches, but there'll be some pictures and stuff to come from the event last night. Really good event there in Morgan County. A lot of people there. A lot of people came to support wrestling. I'm going to mention some stuff about AMW later, but we've got some events we're going to be in your area. And if you want AMW wrestling in your area for a fundraiser, call the offices of AMW and they can take care of you as well. Also, the field, for the 38th annual WYMT Mountain Basketball Classic has also been announced. The girls teams next year will be playing the tournament this year. It'll be Corbin, North Laurel, Harlan, Knox, KLX Central, Perry Central, Knott County, Prestonsburg, and Paintsville. Them are the girls. Now the boys: Harlan County, Clay County, Pineville, Knott County, Perry Central, Hazard, Breathitt County, and Prestonsburg. A lot of people this summer high on them Bulldogs. Loaded. I mean, they are absolutely. Ridge Beverly, like a lot of you don't know, he's in Hazard now. He did play summer ball with them. He did have a good summer. We wish the best to Ridge. But Hazard, a lot of people has Hazard in the coming up preseason basketball as one of the, not just the best teams in the mountain in the state. A lot of teams like Hazard could maybe do some major damage in the state.
Adding Beverly to that already powerful lineup makes a big difference. So it'd be interesting to see for sure, CJ.
Let's go over some games for Friday night. We get John in here. John, he might have forgot about me. I know John gets busy sometimes. Let me see if he left me a message. I might have to say, I'll give him a thumbs up and see if he requires. John's a busy man now. I do understand because he covers a lot of Harlan County. He's got Harlan County, Harlan. He's a teacher at the high school. He does a lot of work for the Catchballs. I know that he's been busy putting the basketball the preview together. So we'll see how that works out as well. But let's get to the schedule for Friday night. Actually, John, get ready to join us right now. We'll go ahead and talk to John, and we'll go over week 0 schedule. I guess you call it week 0 schedule. I don't actually what they do call this week. I call it week 0, but a lot of people don't even call. I think they just call it the first official week. So, joining us now, good friend of the show, good friend of mine, Mr. John Henson. John, welcome to the show.
Good to be here, CJ. I just call it week 1 myself.
You want to call it week 1? That's fine.
I know they used to have that week 0, but I think
you get to November 1st, though, that's going to be 11 weeks, and there's only 10 weeks in the regular season, but you got an open date and everything. So
everybody has an open date, so you're gonna
it's crazy. This year is actually really crazy because the state finals don't start till the first week in December because of UK playing their final home game the last week in November against Louisville. So they had to do a lot of movement there and changes. We'll talk about that later down the road. John, what going on? The first question I would ask you, and I think you know the answer, but you may not. I was tickled to see Trent not go to South Carolina, come to UK. Just how close was that being him staying at South Carolina?
Well, I don't know. I don't talk to Trent every day. I mean, I was at school every day, and I'd see him in the hallway, but we didn't talk that often. I didn't want to be, one of these people that's always asking questions and being a reporter. Maybe I should, but as a teacher, I didn't want to, have dread seeing me come down the hallway. So I actually saw him the other day working out this school year. He was back home from Kentucky, and it's almost like, oh man, there's a celebrity in the building now. And I've been around him since he was 4 years old, I guess. And but this UK thing, that's a whole nother level. I think once Calipari left and things kind of opened up there, just from things I've read that he's told other people, and I think it would have been really hard to turn Kentucky down. That just wasn't an option, until Calipari left, and it kind of opened things up for more Kentucky kids to actually go play there. And it's looking like it's already starting now with Marino already in the 25 class, and I just think that's a great thing. Calipari had some great teams and a great run, but it kind of went south toward the end there, and the fact that we're going to have guys like Trent Noah now in the program, that's going to make it a whole lot more fun to cover them, I think.
And Travis Perry, I think they're both going to be. They may play some minutes this year, but I think their impacts will come in the years to come. When because I think they're both going to be great players at UK.
Yeah, well, it's good. They're not going to have to, like Shepherd this year, expecting to turn NBA after 1 year. I don't think. Of course, I don't know if Shepard expected to go NBA after 1 year, but he, had a great season, and that's where he ended up. And hard to argue considering where his draft position was and everything. Even though I wish he had stayed, but yeah, I think these are going to be guys like Richie and Pelfrey and Fieldhouse and those guys from years past who were there 4 years, and everyone's going to get to know them. That's been the worst thing about Kentucky basketball the last 5 to 10 years is that the team turned over every year. And me following high school basketball so much, I didn't know who the team was until March some years. I mean, except just one or two guys. So.
Well, Mark Pope, I really love the hire. I think he's a great guy. I think he's going to do a good job here. I think though he doesn't need to fall in love with watching what Calipari was doing here when he was here. He needs to do what he thinks is best for the UK program, and I think he's done that with this first team he's got.
Yeah, well, it sounds that way. I was fired up after just seeing that first press conference. I really hadn't followed it that closely the last couple of years. A little bit more last year with Reed Shepard, but yeah, I feel good about Kentucky at this point, and I'm not so worried about how many draft picks we have. Just the fact that maybe we're going to have some guys that we'll get to know a little bit better and be there 3 to 4 years.
And no question. Speaking of Reed, what a summer he had. I mean, he was He was the summer league player of the year. He averaged 23 points, about 10 rebounds, 5 or 6 steals, 7 or 8 assists. I mean, man, he was so impressive. I mean, I don't think we really realized how good he was, and he never started. I mean, he never started a game, and he's probably going to be starting a player for the Houston Rockets.
Yeah, I saw one entire scrimmage, or almost an entire scrimmage. I'm a Wizards fan, going back to the days they were the Bullets, and of course the Wizards had the pick ahead and picked Sarr, and I don't know, that doesn't look so good now because he had a tremendous game against the Wizards. Sarr did not, but he's 7 foot, so that's what they wanted, a post player. So we'll see how the thing plays out over the years. But yeah, I'll admit I was surprised that he played that well that soon. But he's made a habit of doing that since he's been even going back to high school. But certainly since he's at Kentucky, he's been ahead of the curve from day one.
Yeah, no question about it. Okay, let's get into football. I got a chance to watch Harlan County play a little bit the other night because they actually done some of the game on the Eagles' Nest there in Les County. I tell you what, Jacob Sailors. I tell you what, John. I think Harlan County's. They're a much different team. I'm not used to them running. I mean, when Coach Larkey was there, I expected him to run the ball a lot, very few passes. I mean, I didn't know what Jacob was going to be. He seems to. They've changed their offense a whole lot. They were spread the past couple 2-3 years. Now they're more of a. I don't call it a wing team, but I call it more of a closed. And I tell you what, they looked really good the other night. I mean, they kept the ball away from Leslie County, and that was frustrating because, and that has to be good. That has to be good for them getting ready for the season to begin.
Yeah, I'm planning on coming over for that one, and normally I would, even with the storm, but it was so nasty over here, and I thought, okay, it's a scrimmage, and I watched some of it too on the computer, and I was pleasantly surprised. Leslie County, had a winning season last year, and Landry Collett, number 1 player in the district, according to the Catspaw story that I wrote, and I thought that's going to be a tough test for Harlan County right out of the gate, and I was surprised that they did so well defensively, and scored 3 touchdowns on varsity, and I think a couple when the JV was in there in the second half, and Coach Sadler calls it a wing tee, but it's a little different with the beer mixed in. He explained all of it, but my football terminology, I used to listen to his dad a lot to figure out how to say it in the paper. Because he was the radio guy there for years. Once Harlan County High School opened, overqualified for that job. Of course, he took 2 teams to the state finals at Cumberland as a coach, and had a great run at Pineville and Kaywood after that. So he's on the staff now, and that's got to be a boost. And they've got a good attitude going, and that game scrimmage over there Saturday certainly is going to help. They got a big game at Middlesboro on Saturday, and that's going to be a good test for them. They lost a hard fought one over there last year, and they need some early confidence, early wins to to build on because they do have a young team, really only 4 or 5 seniors, and 2 of those guys have played a lot. But other than that, they're pretty inexperienced. Lost a big senior class last year, so that was a great sign that they went over to Leslie and played as well as they did.
Of course, you talked about the game last year. I was at that game. That was when we saw the injury to the wide receiver, Swanigan. Is that right, Swanigan? Is it the
Swanner, Jonas Swanner? Yeah, he was best athlete, best player. Definitely, that was a blow for him last season, and he made it back for a little bit of baseball, but that was tough. That had a lot to do with their struggles without their top playmaker, I think.
Yeah. New coach in Harlan, Middlesboro native. Seems like maybe Harlan's, maybe the kids are ready to play a little football over there now. They seem like the numbers up a little bit is what I'm hearing, and I hear they're excited over there.
Well, the number's about the same from what I can tell, 25 or 26 there, and I didn't get to hear any scrimmage results. They were out of town on both of those, but Brian Williams, very qualified. I remember him. You probably do too. At the University of Kentucky, he had those those great Middlesboro teams in the early '80s. He's just a year behind me, so I followed him in high school and in college. But we're a good baseball player too, and then he starts, I think, 3 years in the SEC as a 5'10", 220-pound defensive end, and Jerry Claiborne's wide tackle 6. So I don't think anybody's going to question his toughness. But a very good resume. Coached at a lot of different colleges through the years, even a little stint there at Ohio State. So you can't get much bigger than that. But they also lost quite a few good players, like Harlan County. Had some good seniors 2 years ago. Last year, not quite as many, but still Darius Akal, one of probably the top players in the state. He's already committed to Eastern, and he's going to be their playmaker, no question about that. But they have a very winnable game to start. Hancock County, Tennessee, coming over Friday. They beat them over there last year. That was one of their 2 wins, and so I feel pretty good about that first one. Then we'll go from there. But they need a little confidence too, and that'll give them an opportunity to do that.
As the 13th as a whole, what are some teams that we need to keep our eye on them? What are some teams that we're too high on, and maybe we're not expecting so much from? First team I want to mention is Pineville. I feel sorry for their kids because they really wanted to play on their new surface and everything. They're not even going to have that ready probably till close to the end of the year. So they're going to probably end up having to play a lot of their games at Union or Bell or anywhere they can get a field.
Well, I think they're playing the first 2 home games at Union. I saw something Coach Harris had posted, and I write a little bit for the Millsboro paper. Shane Shackford coaches over at Pineville. He does some writing with me, and the story that he sent said they're going to play their first couple of games, I think, at Union. Then they got a road trip there, 3 or 4 weeks with road games, and then they hope to have their field ready when they get back, from those road games and get in some district games, hopefully back at their place maybe in October.
And Williamsburg looks so beautiful. John, did you see the pictures of their upgraded stadium, new press box, new bleachers, turf field?
I saw the press box, and being a guy who goes to that press box, I'm happy. I'm at 60 plus now. I don't know if I want to climb up those steps anymore. So that'll make it a little nicer to cover a game there. And they've had such a great run the last with Coach Harry in the last 15 years or longer. And they're probably back to being the favorite again in Class A. I think Middlesboro was last year, had the best team and kind of swept through that district in the first year back. But Williamsburg has a lot of people back, and they're looking to have a good season this year.
I thought early on. I think Pineville's going to be pretty good. I think Williamsburg's going to be the class of the district. But I think Middlesboro will be better by the end of the year. I think it's going to take them that long just because Coach French is a really good coach. I think he'll get them going by the middle of the season. Right when they get around district play, tournament time, I think they'll be really good. Thomas, questions for John?
I'm just excited to see this new offense from Harlan County. I talked to CJ. I thought Leslie County would be a really good matchup early on. He said Harlan County handled them easy, so I want to see the difference in what they're doing and excited about that.
Yeah, that did surprise me. I admit, and Coach Saylor's got them excited now, and they had some success with it. Freshman quarterback, and I followed the Harlan County football from day one. Braden Morris there, great athlete. His dad, I covered him at Kaywood. Steve Morris, really good running back for Coach Saylor there in the '90s, and he plays a little bit like his dad, and I don't think Harlan County has ever had a freshman quarterback starting varsity that I can think of. So he's stepping into a little pressure there, but so far he's been tremendous, and Coach Saylor can't brag on him enough from what he's told me. He's just been very impressed with how his maturity and how he's handled everything, and he's got a lot of responsibility in that veer there. Pitching the ball, he's going to run a lot. He was a star running back on the junior high team last 3 years. Put up a lot of good numbers for that junior high group, but to step in as a freshman starting from day one. That's pretty unusual, and he seems to be handling it well. And Coach Saylor and Coach Curry both tell me, he's going to be a good one, one of the best we've had.
Start out on the road at Middlesboro, right? Week 1. So
Saturday.
Talk a little bit about that matchup.
Why is that game at Middlesboro again?
It's a bowl game. That is a 2-year agreement they had when they signed, and so back-to-back games over there. It was a pretty tough game last year. Middlesboro had a really nice senior-dominated team. Caden Grigsby, one of the best players in the mountains, certainly, and he was a difference maker in that one. But they also had some really good linemen. Those guys have graduated. But as CJ said, Coach French, one of the all-time greats. Pretty amazing. Bell County has Coach Hilton and Coach French there. Two of the guys have been coaching 50-plus years each. I remember Coach Hilton's first teams there in the 70s when he's at Breathitt County, and then Coach French has had all those great teams through the years. Even with Southwestern, they played Harlan County in the regional finals a couple of different times, and he's really turned Middlesboro around since he's been back over there. They were really starting to struggle, but that'll be a tough one. Middlesboro, new quarterback now. Partons comes over from Pineville, good arm. They still have some athletes, even though they do graduate some really good players. Vincent Smith's back as a senior. Coach French is happy with some of these younger linemen. When I talked to him for the preview, I think that's going to be a tough, close game. I really don't know how to pick it at this point, but that's certainly a big game for Harlan County. They've got that tough 5A district facing them, and Middlesboro's schedule will get a little easier once they get into Class A play later in the year. Yeah. But that'll be a good test for both teams early on.
CJ?
If you know 13th Region Sports, John's going to be your answer. He's got all the answers. Is there anybody that we're not talking about in 13th football that we need to keep our eye on? Somebody we're not or some players that we're not need to watch out for? Well,
I'll be honest with you, CJ, I don't until the season starts, I'm not. Les would know more probably about the 13th Region football players. I'm with the basketball all summer, and I can tell you who the best players are in the class of 24, 25, and 26. But as far as football, Corbin's obviously going to be really good. I don't think there's any question about that, even though they lose some great players. Bell County, even though they lost Mr. Football, coming off a state runner-up finish, I think they're probably still the favorite. Rockcastle's really good too in that district. Knox Central back with Coach Mills, so that's going to be an interesting district. But I don't know. I talked about Darius Acal. He's already gotten a lot of recognition at a Class A school. Gooden over at Williamsburg is really good. He's the Player of the Year in that district, coming off their team last year, and they're one of the favorite this year. But the same teams we have every year. I think probably going to be the favorites, but I really don't know as far as if there's any upset specials at this point. I've just not till the season gets started. I really don't know a whole lot more about it than a lot of other people watching.
2 basketball questions. I'll let you go. This is going to be a big year for the 13th because there's a lot of great players in the region, but there's not that one iconic superstar that everybody's going to focus on. So this is going to be more of a team-oriented region. And a lot of people, I've heard, that a lot of people like South. A lot of people like Corbin. A lot of people like Clay. Harlan County still. What are you seeing right now because I feel like this is going to be a fun region, funner than it's ever been.
Yeah, well, basketball now. I've just followed it all summer, so yeah, I'm better at that one. The thing is, you're comparing to iconic players, and I think that's a fair statement. But how often have we had a Reed Shepherd and a Trent Noah in back-to-back years? I don't know.
I've never seen it.
Going back to Richie Farmer and Nick Sanford or somebody like that in the '80s, maybe. But they were actually 2 years apart. But it would be hard to live up to that. But now to be fair, Maddox Huff is ranked. Saw one poll the other day. He's the 5th ranked senior in the entire state. So, I mean, I think if you're in the top 5 in the state, you're a Mr. Basketball candidate. And, of course, Mabe at South Laurel, tremendous player, great size. And I wouldn't be surprised if he ends up – I know Maddox has already received 4 or 5 different Division I offers, and I think Mabe's going to be getting a lot of attention. Sawyer Thompson at Pineville's been around forever. He's a senior this year. Ashton Moser, also a senior at Pineville. I think this is their best shot. I thought they had a real good shot last year to win the All-A. So, I think you got to look at Pineville maybe as a team you don't hear as much about. But I think you mentioned the other favorites. It's going to actually be South and Harlan County are going to be 1-2, then Clay. Bell, Bell has everyone back from last year, and some people had them as high as 2nd last year for a good portion of the year. And then Corbin's always in the mix. Coach Petrowski, even though they lost 3 really good players, they're going to have to rebuild just a little bit, which is unusual for Corbin. But I think you've got those 5 teams. Then maybe Pineville as the, of course, Clay. I think I mentioned them. And then Pineville probably is the All-A favorite. Also, I'll tell you a team that impressed people this summer. I didn't get to see them play, but I heard a lot about Oneida Baptist this year.
Yeah, I did too.
Yeah, they have had a couple of freshmen last year that had a real nice year. They did lose their top player. He graduates, but they got 3 or 4 guys that got a lot of experience. Coach Gritton has been there. He went to the All-A State as a player in the 90s, and so he knows what it takes. And I think they got a shot at that All-A this year also. So going to be fun. And like you said, maybe not one just All-State dominant Mr. Basketball candidate, but Maddox and Mabe certainly are All-State candidates. Maddox made it last year, both the Courier Journal and Herald Leader. So we got 2 really good players and 4 or 5 good teams.
And the girls are going to be the same way in the 13th. Some really good teams. North, Corbin, Knox Central, loaded. I mean, the Lady Panthers, they got probably one of the best girls basketball players I've ever seen play, and she's going to put up some major numbers if she stays healthy.
Collins, she's been a starter since the 7th grade, I think, at North Laurel. Now she's at Knox Central. Knox probably has their best team since Kim Mays was there. Whether, they can get over the hump this year or not, don't know. But I think I would put Knox and North as the favorites at this point. Then, you got some good teams other than that. Of course, South's always good. Corbin lost a lot, but, they're still going to be pretty good. And, of course, South Laurel's going through a coaching change, and they lost, the point guard over there to she transferred to Knox. But, they're still going to be pretty solid.
Yeah. One other question, I'm going to let you go, John. How is Mr. Cottrell doing? I know he had an injury back during the summer. We've been praying for him, and I'm just wondering how he's been doing.
Well, actually, had him in my homeroom of all things at Harlan County High School. He seems to be doing good. I mean, he's got a lot of challenges ahead of him, but I don't know all the medical things. I know he's out there with them at practice. He can't do anything yet, but he's supposed to have the thing removed from his thumb, so it was broken. So he'll be able to do a little bit more, I think, at that point. Coach Jones was just telling me today that he grabbed a basketball the other day and just went straight up and dunked it. So he's very athletic. He's going to have some changes now as far as left hand moves and things like that. But it's amazing how he caught everyone's attention last year in the state tournament, and everybody wanted to talk about the guy with the long hair and his leaping ability and his defense ability and some of the things he did for him last year. He's a guy that's going to be a key player, and I just hope he can recover and get back to 100% by November.
Well, we keep him in our prayers, and we want him to get back out there because he's a good young man, and I want to see him succeed.
Oh yeah, he's a big part of what they did last year and what they're going to do this season, no question.
Well, John, Thank you so much, sir. We will see you right before basketball gets ready to start. I know you'll have me a good list of some notes about 10-foot long, and I'll be ready for every one of them. And we will see you from time to time during the football season. I know you'll be in and out. We'll run into you, hopefully, and you have a good remainder of the fall. We'll talk to you when basketball gets ready to start.
All right. Sounds good, CJ. Thanks. See you guys
Thank
later.
you, John. Appreciate it. John Henson over in Harlan County. Busy man. A lot going on over there. As he's got a lot of hands in the fire, Thomas. He teaches and writes for the paper, and he just does it all. And catch balls, and just a lot of fun there. But we appreciate him very much. I'd like to go to John because John gives me a lot of information that I'm not going to get from other people.
Oh, exactly. It makes a big difference, He knows the ins and outs, and we get to see. And week one is an eye opener for everybody. We get to see what happens. We get to see who's doing things differently. And speaking of different, here's someone's in a different place than the last time I talked to the coach.
First time for me, and I'm excited. I like first-time coaches. Didn't get an opportunity to talk to him when he was at Prestonsburg. I tried. Didn't know how to get a hold of him, actually. And I got lucky, so I'm a lucky guy. Get him on the show. Brandon Berg, former Powell County head coach, former Prestonsburg head coach. Now he's the new head coach at Bath County. Coach, great to have you with me, and great to have you with us.
Hey, yeah, I appreciate you guys having me on.
You decided you wanted to move on. All coaches do that. You've got a Bath County team that has you're trying to bring football back to them. They've had some good teams in the past, and I think that you're the type of coach they need. Somebody, new voice, somebody can get them going in the right direction.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of pride and excitement for Bath County football. It's a program I'm familiar with. I'm originally from close to this area. It's about 35, 40 minutes from where I grew up, and we played them when I was in school, and I coached against them a lot. And they all, have very competitive teams, good resources, and the most important thing is we've got good support, and there's good excitement. There's a lot of optimism. And like you said, just restoring the pride in that program is really the main thing. We've got a lot of work to do, and I've been very fortunate in having some really good help come with me. And I've also got a very supportive administration who has got us set up to be able to have some weightlifting classes that is necessary. And I'm looking forward to getting started. We haven't started school yet. We're going to actually play a game this Friday, and we don't start school till Monday. So we've got a lot of construction going on over at our school. There's the building is, they've done a lot of work to the building. And we've got all kinds of aviation programs. We've got culinary, a big agricultural department. So then they just, it's just like they kind of keep adding stuff on there. It's really got a lot going right now there, and it's really pushed back the start of school, which isn't a bad thing for the kids especially.
Yeah, the kids love that. They know they didn't have to get up on August 3rd or 4th and have to be already in school. But now that'll be a little hard on them when it gets June and July, or late May and June. They're still in the classroom when everybody else is out there, having fun. So we'll get back to you on that one. But Coach, I've known you a long time. I've kept up with you. I've watched you when you was at Powell County, when you was at Prestonsburg. You've always had good teams, disciplined teams. Teams play hard. Bringing a lot of that stuff that you know now. You've learned a lot in your coaching career. What can you bring to this Bath County team that they need to be better at? We've talked with Coach Chandler from Hazard. Most of the problems that Hazard last year, they couldn't never stay healthy. And they're depending, on stuff. I know that when you was at Prestonsburg last year, that was one of the key things. You were healthy most of the season, and you guys had I think a really good, a decent record, did very well. And now you want to bring that to Bath County. Tell me what you want to apply there.
Well, the biggest thing is that we're faced with right now is making it, being competitive and getting kids interested in playing and getting our numbers up. We're in a very competitive district. They're along I-64, just out east of Mount Sterling. We're right on up 64. I mean, on our schedule, we're playing Round County, we're playing Fleming, East Carter, West Carter, Russell is in our district. That's a very tradition-rich program. East Carter has been extremely, successful the last few years. They're right in our district, just down the road from us. So we're playing, 3A football, and we're playing teams that have established, very, very competitive programs, and that's something that we've got to do. And football, I would tell everybody, is a numbers game. Not everybody's going to be the scoring touchdowns on Friday night or lead the state in passing, but Johnny might be a pretty good left guard or a pretty good defensive end by the time he's a senior or junior. And so you can play a lot of kids in a football game on Friday night. It's just you got to have you've got to have numbers, and it's just a matter of getting kids out and making football exciting and fun. I don't know if fun's the word to use, but just exciting and something that kids are interested in.
I saw your roster. Your freshmen were not listed, but I'm guessing you will have 8 to 10 freshmen on the team too.
Yeah, we've got a really good freshman class. I finished out the year at the middle school, and we brought in about 12 or 14 freshmen right now. Currently, our 8th grade team has about 20 kids on it. We have about 20 kids on our 7th grade team. And so they're going to be able to play. I was talking to their coaches the other night, and they're going to be able to play a 7th grade team and an 8th grade team. And so that's really good, because I know when I was in 7th grade, I wasn't close to being ready to play against those 8th graders. It is just a year, but, kids hold back. And so you might be a true 7th grader, and those kids are not, supposed to be fit. They're 15 years old, or, supposed to be in the freshman year of high school. And that makes it tough if you're trying to play them all together like that. And some of those kids maybe don't get to play in a team game. I guess is what 7th and 8th grade combined, and they lose interest. And so we've got a really good group of kids out right now. There's right at 40 kids playing for our 7th and 8th grade team combined. So I saw those guys the other day. It's a good looking group. And I was down there all the last part of the year at the middle school and got to meet a bunch of those kids and talk to them. And I think that helped out a lot too.
I've noticed your roster. You do have a lot of seniors. You did lose a couple of kids that were very good to the program. Talk about some of your seniors this year. What you're expecting out of them.
Yeah, I feel like we got a really good senior class. There's some really good leadership in our senior class. We voted on captains the other day, and Nathan Tripp and Blaine Wilson were selected as our team captains, and they're both seniors, excellent young men, work really hard, have a lot of pride in what they do, and don't complain. They work hard and come in every day, and it's they're consistent. And that's really a good example. I was really excited to see that the team had selected those two guys as our team captains, because that's really what we need everyone to be like on our team, or to look, to look up to those guys. And we've got other, Cole Hart is going to be a quarterback. He's our starting quarterback, and he's our starting free safety, and he does a nice job for us. And so we Daniel Leege plays center. He's doing a good job. So we have a really good senior class, and there's a good group of sophomores there as well. And our numbers aren't where we'd like for them to be, but we're close. We're close. We need about 10. We need about 10 or 12 more kids out, and that's not unattainable. So.
No, absolutely.
No, you as you said earlier, kids aren't built like they used to. If you football or basketball or baseball, the kids wanted to play. Now you might have to beg them to play, and you don't really want to do that, because the opportunity's there. They just got to want to be able to go grab it and be a part of it. You done a great job at Prestonsburg, Coach, and I know it was time probably for you to move on and you start a new endeavor. I know people in Bath County appreciate you being their coach. How's it been there? Have they treated you? And I know what you said earlier. It was just a short drive, but I guess you're tickled to death to finally get the season kicked off on Friday night.
Yeah, absolutely. It's not been an easy transition. My wife is also a teacher. We were both teaching there at the high school, and we, like you said, we put a lot of work into that program and worked. She was on the side. My wife was right with me. She's worked with me everywhere, and she's on the sidelines every Friday night taking pictures, and she even started making some highlight videos, and we were starting to do that she was starting to get into that kind of stuff, and so it's a family affair, and I'm very fortunate to have her to be as supportive as she is. And, we felt like, we were on the cusp this year of having a 7-win season there, and had a lot of those kids are coming back and worked really hard at that program. But, like you said, it felt like it was time to move on. And I just, I was really excited to get the opportunity to get back. Bath and Powell have a lot, very, very similar type programs as single county schools, farm communities. You're about 40 minutes outside of Lexington. But you're not having to compete. We're in a good location too along I-64. I mean, all my games are, we're going to be playing right up 64 there with very comparable type programs. So, it's got a lot of, and like you said, I've ran into several people there who, they tell, in the late 80s and stuff about the programs. And there was a group that came through there not too long ago that had played in, nearly upset a really good Lexington Catholic team there, lost to them by I think that wasn't, but probably about 6 or 8 years ago, about 8 years ago, maybe. So, that's not that long ago, and you still see those names on the middle school banners and around the high school, and you got some of those last names on our team right now, and so it's that's how those county schools are. You hope to keep just kind of bringing more of those kids through, and family and cousins and brothers, and so.
Thomas, questions for Coach?
CJ, I feel like I'm sitting at home. I've talked to Coach Brewer too much over the years.
Good to see you, Thomas.
I tell you, my son came in as a freshman, basketball player, loved playing basketball, and he struggled. He didn't get the playing time he thought he deserved. And I know Coach knows where his story's going. And everybody kept saying, you got to get bigger, you got to get stronger. So who's the person he turned to? This guy right over here. Brewer took him under his wing, put him in there, lift him with the football players, and all of a sudden the next year he was a different player. And Coach, I can't thank you enough for what you did for Prestonsburg, because when you took over Prestonsburg, it was, I hate to use that word, turmoil. You had a lot of players leaving, and you built it back, and you had a great run while you were there. So hats off to you. You were great to work with as AD. So I just wanted to say that. But I'm excited about Bath. I've got you on my Facebook page, so everything you and your wife share, I get to see. And you got great numbers. You got great activities. You see the kids are engaged, and that's the difference. So can't wait to see what's going on up there in Bath County. So there's no doubt in my mind you're going to build that program right back to what it was.
Well, I appreciate that, Tom. It's good hearing from you.
Yeah, absolutely. So if you had to set a goal, what's your goal for this year? I know first-year coach, everybody wants to make it to Commonwealth Stadium, but, we got you're rebuilding. What's your goal? What would be a good year for the Bath County Wildcats?
Well, we want to be competitive in every game we play, and I think that's something that you can see, not on just you can see that not on a scoreboard. You can come and see if kids are competitive, they're playing hard. I mean, we've already heard, a lot of talk about just how we had a scrimmage the other night against a really tough, competitive Nicholas team. I watched them play Shelby Valley and West Carter in a scrimmage, and they've got, they're not a big school, but now they've got 3 or 4 kids that could, play for a lot of schools that we see play in small schools, and we just, our kids, they're being very. We went up to Grant County the week before and played against them in Bourbon, and the kids are just, they've got a competitive side to them that's really fun to be able to be around, and they get going, and they're really bought into what we're doing, and they're really giving us a chance and putting their best foot forward. And that's really all you can ask when you're starting to our program's been 2-18 the last couple of years combined. So really all you can ask is just, we need to give us a chance, work with us. And we're gonna take you guys as far as we can, and get you better. And that's really where we are right now. So and again, we're back, just making the program attractive and something that the kids want to come out and be part of.
Absolutely. And hopefully we can get down there and cover a game or two.
We'd love for you guys to come out. Yeah.
We did a lot of games at Prestonsburg, CJ, over the years.
Yeah.
Yeah. You got a nice facility, Coach.
Yeah.
Look at a picture that you had posted, overhead picture, where you was telling everybody about your game Friday night with Fairview. But I hadn't seen your stadium since you got remodeled, and beautiful.
Yeah, we've got everybody says that, it's kind of not a lot of people, they haven't seen our stadium, and then I've heard that so much, and it's a really nice stadium. It's a nice town, and it's like I said, conveniently located right off I-64 there, and you got easy travel down to Mount Sterling. You can be there in about 15-20 minutes. You can be on over in Lexington about 40 minutes, and it's a good location. And I think you're seeing a lot of people kind of move out into those kind of areas. I mean, Mount Sterling, the population there, since I've been at Prestonsburg for about 6 years, and it's just, it's a lot of people are moving into kind of on the outskirts there in Winchester, Mount Sterling, so there's a lot of positives happening right there.
Absolutely.
There ain't no question about that, Coach. Need to remind everybody, if you want to check out Bath County, Friday night they will host Fairview, 7:30 kick there from Bath County High School. Should be a lot of fun. And Coach, I know that I want to say the best of luck to you and your Wildcats on this whole year. Nothing but the best success. I saw what you done at Powell. I saw what you done at Prestonsburg. I think you're going to bring nothing but the best to these kids at Bath County.
Well, it means a lot, CJ. I appreciate you all and all the kind words you have to say. That's really nice. I thank you.
Absolutely.
But we want to thank you so much for being with us. Hopefully we can get another opportunity for you to come back and talk about your team next time.
Absolutely, guys. I'd love to.
All right. Thank you, Coach.
Thanks.
All right, all right, see you guys.
Of the Bath County Wildcats as they get set to play Fairview on Friday night down in Bath County. Tell you what, people don't realize what you mentioned the word turmoil. Prestonsburg, when DeRosset left, it seemed like it was like one player but then Coach Brewer finally got that settled down, and they started becoming Prestonsburg again.
And listen, he left Prestonsburg in good hands. Coach Hager is going to have a good season. I'm going to tell you the name. Write it down, CJ. Dalton Elliott.
Okay, Brick. Dalton Elliott.
Let me tell you what. The kid he's got a motor like you have not seen.
I know they were talking about him on the preview when Prestonsburg from WYMT's preview.
Let me tell you what. That kid is fast.
Now, they was talking about him saying how they had two kids. They talking about him and one other kid said probably two fastest they've ever had in the school's history. They said they should be able to do a lot of, vertical stuff. It's,
well, you think over the years the speed Prestonsburg had in the Jamersons and all those. He has the 100 record. Elliott does.
I think of Prestonsburg when they were, playing deep into week 14. But we saw that. So what Prestonsburg, I think Coach Hager's going to do Coach Brewer did a really good job.
He did.
Coach Hager has been left in some good hands. But now he's got to keep that program going.
I have to say what he did for my son, transforming him, making him enjoy and working out. I could use that now, but nobody likes to work out, CJ. But now he enjoyed it and made it a part of his whole high school transition. It was all
My
because
workout, Thomas, is picking up the bowl, putting cereal in it, put a little milk. That's my workout. And
Yeah,
the spoon goes in my mouth.
but he really did the difference and just transformed him into, having that right mindset, eating healthy. It just can't thank that man enough. So
people don't realize how important conditioning in the weight room and those stuff is to any athlete, regardless of whatever sport you're playing: football, basketball, volleyball, tennis, track, soccer, lacrosse. You have to be in fit, top shape, and strong to be able to play. Because listen, you're not. I've said this 100 times. I think I even told you and Daryl this, or other people. JV kids do very well against JV kids.
Yep.
But when you put them up against a varsity kid, they're not in the same ball. They're not in the same atmosphere. So you have to be big. You have to be strong. You have to be able to hold your own. And
exactly. And now kids are becoming more specialized. CJ, whereas back in the day it was the football coaches, going there and hit the weights. Now you've got trainers in almost every town. We're blessed here in the 15th region to have Corey Hayes at Hayes Training System. Mm-hmm. He just bought a building next door that he's just going to specialize for football. And now they're talking, he's having workouts on Saturday morning just to rehab, from the pounding they take Friday night. It's guys like that, guys and gals that make the difference, No
question about that. Okay, let's go over the schedule real quick. We're going to go over it again when tomorrow comes on. But we got Martin County at Hazard, and you can hear that game either on WSGS or on WJMD or WSGS. Prestonsburg, Lexington County game, you can probably hear that game on WZQQ. Both of them are 7:30 games. Perry Central's at Somerset. You'll probably, whatever game's on SGS, the other one will be on the other station. You got North Laurel at Bale. You got the second game of the Cumberland Falls Pigskin Classic, Pikeville against Corbin. Johnson Central's at Madison Central. Breathitt County's going to the CAM to take on Belfry. Rowling County's at Lawrence County. Letcher Central is going to host Shelby Valley. This is a Saturday game down at George Rogers Clark. Betsy Lane playing in when was the last time Betsy Lane played in a big time bowl game on a Saturday?
Listen,
I know. It's been a long time.
Jerry Carroll has got those guys believing, they're playing, and they've got talent coming. They've got probably the top 8th grade quarterback in our area.
That's what I've heard. That's what I've heard. I know everybody's been talking about him.
Jarrett can sling it all over. So this kid has the size. He's just, I'm telling you, they've got a lot of potential, but they've got Carter Parsons. They've added 4 or 5 transfers from Prestonsburg. Their defense is going to be better. They've got speed in Isaiah Allen on the outside. Everybody just keeps sleeping on them Bobcats right down the road here. And I think they're going to surprise some people again.
Listen, I heard their coach and players. I'm going to take a guess they're going to be in the Mountain Top 10 preseason. They deserve it. But I heard their coach say they only got 1 goal this year. Never done it in school history. They won a district championship.
Yeah. Yeah.
Got
a lot of talent there. And,
you look at that district as a whole. Shelby Valley down. Lost a lot. Pike Central lost a lot. New coach. Knott County, new. They got, young team. Floyd Central, pretty good, but can they stay healthy?
Yeah. I still think, I think it's Betsy. I like Betsy Lane. I still think Valley's going to be tough. Mm-hmm. They've got some big time targets at receiver. Brady Johnson's going to step in at quarterback. If I believe that's who it is, I'm going off of memory.
But Thomas, well, I know you got to have if the quarterback can't get the ball to him, then it's just going to be.
You're right. It's the line that's the difference. I mean, that's the key.
Russ was a great quarterback, and it's hard shoes to fill. Hard shoes to fill. Becky Lane will be playing Berea. I didn't get the opponent there, but that's going to be at George Rogers Clark on Saturday. Other games in the mountains, you got Anderson County at Rockcastle County. This game is going to be at Union College, as me and John told you. Clay County at Pineville. It'll be Estill County at East Carter. Hancock County against Harlan. Jackson County at Trimble County. Jenkins against Knox County Central. That'll be the Knox County field. I don't know if you guys have saw the photos and think, oh, unbelievably beautiful.
They deserve it, CJ. They really did.
They did. That's beautiful.
Upgrade. That's a major upgrade to that program, and that's what makes. They talk about these schools. You've got to compete facility wise with these bigger name schools now because kids see that.
I was doing the math, and I don't know how close it was. I'm pretty close. I was trying to think of every mountain team that has turf. I could only probably name you 5 schools left that don't have turf.
Boy,
everybody has it.
I don't know if I can get 5.
I'd probably get you 5.
Pike Central's grass.
Breathitt because they live so close to the river bank. Breathitt, Pike Central. Let's see.
That's all of Pike County. Phelps, I don't know if Phelps has.
No, Phelps does got no. Marty Casey Field is turf.
Oh, that's right. You're correct.
Jenkins,
So,
Jenkins is still grass.
Now turf.
Jackson County is still grass, unless they put a turf in last year and I didn't know it. And
wow, you're right. I think
I know there's a 15, but I can't remember.
Basketball, it's only Pike Central.
Yeah. But you also see schools now turfing their baseball field.
Yeah.
And
you're seeing that a lot.
I think Bell County just put some pictures on there of their new upgrade to softball, baseball fields, turf.
The big game for us that we will not be covering, but up in the 16th is Ashland goes to Raceland.
I'm getting to that game here in just a second because that's going to be a slobber knocker.
Yeah.
Let's see. Knox Central's at Whitley County. Linkham's at Jellicoe, Tennessee. Morgan County's at East Ridge. Paintsville's at Floyd Central. That's going to be a good ball game. Don't sleep on that game right there. Paintsville's and Floyd Central. It's going to be a good one. Pike Central's at West Carter. And by the way, if you guys was wanting to know whether that kicker is still at Pike Central, no, he is not. He is,
Pikeville.
He's at Pikeville now. So his state record will be broken there in Pikeville.
Wait a minute. You talking about a kicker. Talk about the kid over in Martin County. We had him on he nailed a 50-yarder from in practice the other day.
Nice.
We had it on the D&D sports page, yes.
I think I saw that. I believe I saw that, yeah.
Yards. And had room to spare.
This is game 1 of the Cumberland Falls Pigskin Classic. Pulaski County against Beechwood. Southwestern will be at North Hardin on Saturday. South Laurel will be at McCreary Central. Wayne County at West Jessamine. Harlan County at Middlesboro on Saturday. And Montgomery County also playing the Saturday game as well. They're going to be at Montgomery County. I think that might be the Recreation Bowl they're playing in there. The game that Thomas just talked about, Ashland Blazer at Raceland. Slobber knocker written all over it. These are statewide games, some of the best that I thought I seen. Ballard is at South Warren. Bardstown's at Cooper. Campbell County at Scott. Central Hardin is at George Rogers Clark in the second game of that bowl game there at George Rogers Clark. Christian Academy out of Louisville is at Owensboro. Connor at Paul on Dunbar. Covington Catholics at Ryle. Danville is at East Jessamine playing playing at West Jessamine in the point something dot bowl. It's 3 games, I think, there at West Jessamine. Let's see. Danville's at East Jessamine, as I mentioned. DuPont Manual and Central. Fairview's at Bath County. Fleming County's at Lafayette. Frankfurt is at Paris. Franklin County's at Scott County. Grant County is at Lincoln County. Holy Cross is at Sayre. Big year for Sayre. I'm going to be keeping up with them a whole lot. They're one of the most exciting teams in Class A football. Right off the bat, big-time state competition. Lexington Catholic and Highlands.
That'd be a big one.
That's a doozy.
Way to open up the season, right?
Huh?
Way to open up the season.
Way too open up the season. Boyd Memorial at Newport Central Catholic. Nell is at Butler. Mayfield is at Graves County. Trinity is at Brown Station. That's going to be a great game. Wayne County is at West Jessamine. That's the second game of that bowl game there. Bourbon County is hosting Western Hills. Boyle County, the defending 4A state champions, taking on Lexington Christian on Saturday down at Western Kentucky University. Frederick Douglass is at Bowling Green in the first game. And Wolford County is at Taylor County for that. So we'll go over these games again here, probably in a little bit, just a second. Okay. Now we're gonna pick on my main man here because I like doing this. Nate got it last year, so he's gonna get it from me this year. With us right now, WYMT sports reporter Armando Berry. Armando, great to have you with us.
Thanks for inviting me again.
Always. Listen, this is WYMT 9:30. Always, this is your slot. This is your guys' slot. Nobody else gets that slot. Nobody can have that slot. Nobody's allowed to have that slot. Okay? You know that. Okay. I'm gonna start off with the easy question. Now, I'm going to give you. Now, I haven't gave you my top 10 yet tonight, and I'm going to do that right now because I'm going to try to. Now, I know this is going to be extremely hard to muster a top 10 out of you, but I think I know your 10 teams. I think I do. Okay, but I'm going to give you my 10. Now, this is my preseason top 10 coming into Friday night. I got at number 10. I got Letcher Central. I got Breathitt County at number 9. I got Lawrence County at 8. Rockcastle County at 7. Belfry at 6. Johnson Central at 5. Somerset at 4. Pikeville at 3. Got Corbin at 2. I got Bell County as number 1. Now you're smiling, so I know 7. I think I know 7 of your 10. The other 4. Because I've been doing it by process of elimination when you've had your pigskin previews. So
he's doing his homework. He's studying.
But you know what? He might trick me when they have because he didn't give out next week's schedule for Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday before the pigskin. See, he thinks he's got me, but I think he doesn't. I would almost bet any amount of money. Bale, Corbin, Pikeville, Somerset, Johnson, Belfry, and Breathitt are in your top 10. I guarantee you that. The other 4 teams that I took a flyer on were Shelby Valley, Williamsburg, Betsy Lane, and Lawrence County. Now, how close am I? Because you can't tell me because I know it was of the pigskin preview coming on Thursday, but
right. For legal reasons,
you can't.
But I will say, it sounds like you have a pretty good batch of teams right there. You have a pretty good batch of teams to choose from that are in the mix among the.
See, I am a little surprised you guys did not put Rockcastle in your top 10. I know they did lose a lot, but I felt like they had a lot coming back, and I felt like beating Bell last year. One of the only few teams that did beat Bell with Mr. Football. I'm a big fan of Chris Larkin.
Right.
So,
I think one that you can also say is in Rockcastle's case is, they're in a very competitive district, and I don't know if the district is as strong as it was last season, but if you think about last season, Knox Central had Steve Pardon, Clay County was no slouch, obviously Daniel Thomas in Bell County, and then Rockcastle that game was awesome. So, that's a very good. I was talking with Mike Sizemore of Clay County for their pigskin. They're talking about how good their district is, and I was like, man, you don't realize that all 3 of those programs, or what was that, 4 of those programs, along with McCreary, are in the same district. So, that's something to consider. But, it's a preseason list. So,
how often do you get the same coach going back to the same team? Blaine Mills going back to Knox Central. That's amazing.
We've had 11 coaching changes this off season, and I
Yep.
think all of them were like a different coach going to a different team. So I'd say I don't know. It doesn't happen a whole lot. I mean,
I know the kids were glad to see Coach Mills back because he spent 8 good years there when he was at Knox Central the first time. He felt like he wanted to move on when he went to Bale, and he done a decent job at Bale. And then he got a chance to really see what it took to be on the staff with at Corbin. And I think he's going to take some of the stuff he learned at Corbin and be able to make Knox Central a better football team. Then I feel like some coaches are doing that now. We saw John Bentley in basketball. He spent 1 year with George Rogers Clark just to be better, and then now he's the head basketball coach at East Jessamine. And he's a mountain guy, and John's one of my favorite people. But I asked John, I said, "Why'd you do it?" Because he goes, "I'm not as good as I think I am. I still need to learn." And everybody needs to know that. Coaches, I think that's what Coach Mills. He got the opportunity to see how a program like Corbin's been run, so he knew he's run 2 programs. He knew he could do it at Knox Central. So having him back there, I think for them kids is good because they have familiarity with him.
And I think one of the most intriguing coaching moves that we saw in Eastern Kentucky this offseason, I think it's arguably the most intriguing one, was Harlan bringing in Brian Williams, and
we talked about that.
At the college level, and I think he's originally from Middlesboro and played at UK. So I think that's for the kids there on a high school level in a program that is looking to develop. I feel like that's so good for them and such a wealth of knowledge to probably learn from as a coach.
Yeah.
For them, that program.
Okay, you mentioned 11 coaches. I want to go ahead while we've got opportunity and go over them 11 coaches. Okay, Coach Chandler at Hazard.
Yep.
Coach Wesley Haggart at Prestonsburg. Scott Grizz at Pike Central. Let's see. Wayne Mills is back at Knox Central.
Jacob Saylor.
Travis Burns is at Pulaski. Jacob Saylor is at Harlan County. John Hines is now at South Laurel. Let me see.
Austin Moore at Estill County.
Yeah, Stephen Nelson at North Laurel. I know I got one more I'm missing. Well, no, that might be everybody. Oh, Brian Williams at Harlan. You mentioned Austin at Estill County.
Yeah.
And then, of course, Matt Raymer come in last year at Whitley. So
coaching change, didn't they?
Shelby Valley had a coaching change. Yes, their new head coach is.
Yep. He was.
Their new head coach is. Well, I did have it right here. Hold on a minute. I've got it here. I've got it in the notes. Shelby Valley's new head coach. I know I've got it. Don't. This is live TV. Hold on. He's a Johnson.
Yeah.
Tyler.
Get his first name.
Tyler Johnson. Yes.
Yeah.
He was the OC during Anthony Hampton's run with them.
Yeah.
Yep.
16, and then he got promoted internally to head coach. So I feel like they're a team that's going to come back with a lot of confidence. Since, I mean, they lose Russ, who's major, Brady Bentley, who was major, but they have a lot of the team besides those two. And I mean, they have the same coach essentially because I mean, he had the offense it had no changes. It's just, I guess, whatever he wants to do with the defense, which I'm sure he might not change that much either. But
yeah. I don't expect much change. I expect them to stay the same. I expect them to.
Yeah.
But it is going to be hard to step in the shoes of Russ because Russ was such a great player.
3,000 yards.
Yeah. Where did he end up going?
U-Pike.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll be excited to get some of him along with Caden Woolham from Belfry and some more local kids at U-Pike that I'm sure I haven't said their name, but they're going to be there too. So we'll be excited to be there pretty soon too.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, one of the things, I'm Thomas Rainey with D&D. One of the things I Daryl loves putting his top 10 out with all the people that he gets information. So me, in the age of social media, I almost cringe every time it goes out because someone complains, my team got left out.
Yeah.
Well, my comment I always come back with, well, who do you take out?
Right.
And that's where the conversation stops. They go, well, we deserve to be in there. Well, who do you take out? There's only 10 spots. So,
no, my bad. Go ahead.
No, that's just what I was going to say. It's so tough when you put that top 10 out.
And I think with the mountains, I think there's definitely the toughest part with the mountains is with this region is it seems like there are about 5 or 6 programs that are perennially a top 5 or 6.
Yeah.
You're really looking for who's going to be the next 4 in the bubble. And with that, especially with a preseason top 10, I mean, I feel very confident about making one during the weeks based off who they're playing, strength of schedule. But in the preseason, when these
your guys changes so much from week to week. I mean, I have not in the past 6-7 years. I don't think you guys have had the same top 10 3 weeks in a row
because it's 7, 8, 9, 10 that changes so much. I mean, if it was a top 5 list, then it might not move.
And then your basketball is even more chaotic because you never have the same number 1 unless you've just got a team that's really dominant. So, I mean,
and there are sometimes in basketball where I remember last year, like there was one team that went like 13-0, but they didn't play anybody. We're getting emails and feedback from why isn't this team? They have the pretty record. Like look, but then when they finally went against a good team, they were defeated handedly. So it's like we have to look at who they're playing too. I mean, you could be a good team, but it doesn't mean you're a top 10 team in the region. That's a different echelon that, just from a record standpoint that we have to look at. But I mean, you gotta let your play do the talking too. I believe in you gotta let your play do the talking.
We got such heat a couple years ago. I think what Belfry started 0-3, but they lost to 3 powerhouses.
5.
0-5 or something. And we had them in the top 10, and someone said, well, how can they be 0-4 and be in the top 10? Well, it turned out they won the state 3A that year.
Did you see who they played? Did you see their first 5 games?
Yeah.
I would have been 0-5. Yeah. They played 2 state champions.
Yeah. But people don't look at it that way. And like you said, Armando, somebody's 5-0 and they should be ranked 1 or 2. And you're like, well, you haven't played anybody. And you hate to say that, but that's truly what it is. Until you play that top tier competition week in and week out, it's hard to get ranked. And you're right. Those first 6 teams CJ mentioned, everybody's going to have in the top 10. I mean, those are locks, I mean, week in and week out. But it's those other teams, it's those bubble teams. That's where the controversy comes in.
Ooh, people's blood boils over those.
All right, let's get on the schedule a little bit. Got a good schedule this week. Got some great games. I know you guys are. I know you're pumped about some of these. First of all, as I always did with Nate, and I'll do with you. What is our first WYMTV game of the week?
The first WYMT RH game of the week will be Hancock County at Harlan.
Okay, so
the reason why it was that one, even though it's not particularly 2 mountain teams, is because I think it's more of a special occasion because Larry Kirksey, who's a legend at EKU, he was a wide receivers coach for my Niners, coaching Jerry Rice, who's a Harlan native. I mean, Larry Kirksey's a Harlan native. He's returning to Harlan this week to, I think, accept some award, or he's there for some specific reason. So it's a lot of notoriety for him that's going to happen. But there's still a lot of great games going on.
I know where you're going to be.
Well, I'll be at that one. I'll be talking to him and stuff like that.
Oh, I thought you'd probably be at Corbin. So who gets the honor of being at Corbin?
We're gonna have someone there. I wish I could be, but I have to stick a little bit closer since I anchor so much.
Because I feel like we got a lot of great games out there. Sports Overtime season premiere Friday night, 11:15. Be ready.
Let's go.
Is it going to be you and Audrey, or is it going to be you and Jack?
Me and Audrey.
And then when they do start Saturday night, will that be
It'll
probably
be Jack and Audrey, and I'll be
Jack and Audrey? Okay. Well, I thought.
more. And then
Okay.
Jack will come in sometimes with our though, depending on, we're gonna do a little bit more live sideline reporting this year. Like that Pikeville at Corbin game they talked about.
Yeah.
I won't really be there, but we will have someone live there previewing the game. We want to do that more on a weekly basis, so those two will rotate a little bit depending on who wants to be where, and but they'll be the main anchors for Saturday, and then I'll be there almost every Friday.
Okay, here's my top 6-7 games. I'll throw them at you, then we'll talk about them.
Okay.
I like Somerset at I like Prairie Central at Somerset, North Laurel at Bell, Pikeville at Corbin, Brampton at Belfry, Shelby Valley at Letcher Central, Prestonburg at Leslie County. I like that game too. Also, I like Knox Central and Whitley County. I think it's going to be a nice game. And I think game 1 of the Cumberland Falls Pigskin Classic is going to be a pretty fair game. I know Beechwood's a heavy 2A favorite, but I think Pulaski County, new head coach, new beginning. I think they're going to be ready for the challenge and playing the Tigers there in game 1 of the Cumberland Falls Pigskin Classic.
Yeah, Jack's given me a lot of insight when he's been one of the main reporters to go out and talk to a lot of teams. He got to talk to Pulaski, and in their pigskin, they said they want to put the state back on notice. The Boyle County OC, who's now the head coach there, Burns. He's used to bringing home hardware. He doesn't want to do things now that he's in Pulaski, so that'll be fun to watch. And he also told me he really, really likes Whitley County. He says he sees a lot of promise in Whitley and bringing back D. Parker. He's only a junior, I believe. And
you look at that district, and people will laugh. I know Corbin probably, heavy favorite. Letcher Central's loaded. Perry Central's got a really good team. Whitley County's really good. In any given night, any one of them teams that beat each other, it's not an upset because they're good teams.
Yeah, it's good teams. Good teams. But I like that Pikeville Corbin game. That's gonna be love to see big name programs face off. We'll have Jack there previewing the game. He'll be there for Beechwood Corbin. We're gonna be at Perry and Somerset. Somerset shows a lot of promise. They brought back all the best parts of their team, and Clay Clevenger has been doing really good with the jumpers. You want to see what's going on with Bell. It's weird to hear. We just interviewed Daniel Thomas tonight at UVA Wise, and it's weird to not see him in a blue uniform. So to see what they do against North Laurel will be fun. I think I like Shelby Valley Letcher as well. Those are programs who are kind of one of those,
blue collar teams.
Blue collar teams. They have a lot of potential to have a breakout. Letcher, I think they're in line for, they were a younger team last year that did pretty good. They're waiting for that breakout season. I think when I interviewed them for their pigskins, their players seemed very mature, and they were like, I'm seeing things that JC's doing and Pikeville's doing and Corbin's doing, and we want to bring that here to Letcher County. So I think that's, greatness leaves clues.
Yeah, they had a huge injury early on to their quarterback last year, and that really changed that team. He's back. He's healthy. So that should be the big difference. I think that's one of the games we're going to try to do this week is the Shelby Valley Letcher game.
Yeah.
One team I didn't mention, because I think a lot of people's talking – they're highly on everybody's tongue. I think they're even going to make your Mountain Top 10 is Betsy Lane. This could be the most fun Betsy Lane team to probably play there in quite a while. Even though they had a 10-11 win season last year, they're talking nothing but district championship, maybe region, and they're pumped. But they got the pieces to be able to back that up.
Right, yeah, and I think Betsy Lane, I got to interview Jared Gerald, great guy, and they're bringing so much of that team back, and they're feeling confident as ever. They have Andrew McCutcheon, who mean, man, he can just zip around the field. And their schedule is it's team friendly to get some confidence early on before they get into the tougher local teams nearby. So I think they'll be gaining a lot of confidence starting out in the season, and then they'll be ready to go once it gets closer to district and stuff like that.
I wanted to see.
Garrett's done a good job building that program, CJ. He started it at the early age through the middle school, and he's finally getting all that talent up there now, and it's really starting to show the difference.
Mm-hmm.
He, they opened up with Berea in that bowl game down in George Rogers Clark. Then they play Bath County, who we just talked with Coach Brewer a few minutes ago. They could be, they got to be 6-0 before hitting district play. So, I mean, chances of that happening are pretty good. And, I mean, they're sky high right now, and they got everybody back. They're pumped. I mean, they're pumped. What are some teams that we need to keep our eye on, but some teams that you think maybe their stock is a little too high? Because some of these teams, you could have a key injury. You could have just a bunch of stuff happen. But what are some teams we need to look for first that we're not thinking about?
Teams that surprise you. I think Johnson's looking at the outside, and I was talking. I just left Johnson Central. I think it was past Thursday, and I was looking. I always read the magazines, the local papers. They were saying how Boston quarterback lost their 2 rushers, they lost 3 tacklers. The main I wanted to know, because I know that team keep their linemen. Oh, they kept their linemen. That's all. That's all.
Yeah.
That's what matters.
Yeah.
Football team.
I mean, that's all you need. I mean, they can stick. Well, the Maddox kid transferred from Hazard to Johnson Central. I think that's a big pickup for them because they lost their backfield. I think he can challenge to get back there and run and be one of their top rushers.
And the thing is, Johnson Central, they really didn't because have Zach McCourt, and before 2023, Zach McCourt was the leading rusher the year before that, and the year before that, have Christian Barnes, who was I think it was a rusher. So they still have a really good team. They have all their line last year.
Was he the kid that got hurt in the North Laurel game towards ACL?
I believe he did, and that's why he played. But I think Johnson Central, where they have the thorn in their side has been the 3rd round of the playoffs. They're trying to break off from that and then be one of those, first, 3rd best teams in the mountains to possibly get the program field. They want to get back to that echelon. And I think they're a team where, I don't think people are saying Johnson Central's a state champion, but they're a team to look for, and they have that potential, certainly.
Tell me about Luke Sammons. I know I was a big fan of Tom Greer. He was one of my favorite people in the world, and I hate to see him leave. But Coach Sammons, I know Thomas knows more about Coach Sammons than I do because he formerly coached at Lawrence County for, I think, 5 years, right, Thomas? So he's got mountain ties. But is this a Corbin team that's different, or are they going to be the same Corbin?
To be honest with you, that would have to be a question for next week because I am not super familiar with Corbin. I mean, the Cumberland Valley, that area is owned by Audrey. She loves Corbin. She covers them heavily. So I haven't really had a conversation with him much besides scheduling our pigskin, and I don't really know too much about them besides just the people that they brought back and stuff like that. But I haven't sat foot there and had conversations about Corbin yet, just being honest.
I know Luke Sammons. Thomas talk about Luke a little bit because I don't know as much about him as anybody else.
Yeah, I think he had a good run down there, so it'll be interesting to see what he does. He had a good program, so hopefully it'll be good moving forward.
But I will say with Corbin, though, I think his job won't be the hardest because, I mean, you're bringing back Cade Elam, who was such a quarterback for them this past year. They still have some weapons to use. And, I mean, that fan base, that's a football community. Those Redhounds love their sports, and their standard is so high. I think they're going to be a pretty good team. The question is how good, and can they get past? They're in that same bubble as Johnson Central, where that last foray in the state of Kentucky, Royal County, the other teams, is so tough. You have to be the best to reach the state.
Well, Corbin should have never been in the situation they were in last year when they if that game don't get rained out down there in week 2, Bull and Corbin's in Kroger Field. But not that game not being played hurt them in the RPI. It just destroyed them when it got RPI time. And that as long as I think Corbin's gonna be Corbin as long as they know they're not nowhere when it gets RPI time, standing close to Bull so they can play Bull in the finals. Because that game last year down in Bull County, I was there. I've never seen an atmosphere like that in my long time since I've seen anything like that. And it was one of the best games I've ever been a part of. And even though I stood the whole game and paid for it the next morning, but it was just phenomenal. And, I'm looking forward to that again. You guys are going to be busy a whole lot here because usually you wouldn't have no college football for like 2 or 3 weekends. But because of college football starting early, you will have your first edition of Sports Overtime Saturday Night coming up next week, won't you? And usually you wouldn't have that till about 2 or 3 Saturdays from now. So you guys got a lot on your plate coming up. You got the Pigskin Preview for Sports Overtime on Friday night. You guys, Pike County Bowl coming up. It's smacking you guys in the face.
Certainly a lot of stuff going on. But, as we always say, who needs sleep when you have sports? Need to get, spray painted in the office for motivation. But, yes, with Kentucky football, I think very intriguing team because
I'm excited. I'm pumped.
They're good, but the SEC is so good now. I'm just interested to see what echelon of the SEC they fall in, especially now that it's not. I think they removed the divisions and now it's just a 16-team conference. So their schedule, going against Southern Miss, that should be a win. South Carolina should be competitive. Georgia, who knows what's going to happen? Of course, Georgia's always a favorite. But I think UK has a favorable schedule. They'll definitely be tested. As they usually have a pretty good schedule. But
a lot of home games. You and Audrey and Jack are going to be in Commonwealth so much, you may as well just take stock in one of the hotels there and just take ownership of it because you'll be down there so much.
And they also have a game in my home state of Texas for the first time since 1952. I don't know. But the last time that UK went to Austin to play the Longhorns was with Bear Bryant, and they lost 7-0 in that game. So, I'm trying to do all the convincing I can so that it's back in my home state of Texas and cover that one.
Neil, I really need to go to that Texas-Kentucky game. Can I go cover that, please?
I'm working all my options, and, you need to spit shine the desk. Trash. I don't know. Whatever I have to do. I think that's a must cover. But what do I know?
One more question. I'll let you go. You guys, of course, now it's you, Jack, and Audrey. Are we going to see any new members join your team, or is it just going to be you 3 for right now?
Right now, it is me, Audrey, Jack, and then we have Austin as a hybrid. So we kind of had some promotion internally. Jack came into the sports department when they left, and then now Austin, he was an YMT intern before. He does great things here, and then now he's going to take the hybrid spot. He'll go out reporting games, shooting games. He'll help us at Saturdays, get all the fan reactions and stuff. So he'll be doing great stuff with us too.
Yeah, I'm excited. Another year. This is what you guys need to keep your eyes on. Pigskin Preview coming up Thursday night, 7 p.m. on Heroes and Icons. Check that out. You can also see it on WYMTV.com, right? They're going to be on WD. Okay. Friday night, they're going to be for the first WYMTV game of the week. It will be Hancock County and Harlan County, or Harlan Independent. at Harlan, and that is a 7:30 kick, followed by Sports Overtime on WYMT at 11:15. And then, of course, next week, the Pike County Bowl, Friday night, Saturday night, 2 games each night. We'll talk more about that next week when we get ready for the Pike County Bowl. Sir, thanks so much for being with us, and we will talk to you next week.
A pleasure as always.
It's an honor, as always. Amaro Berry from W1 TV. Good night, sir. All right, let me give you some final notes, and we will get out of here. I want to thank everybody that watched the show. I want to thank everybody that left comments. I want to thank all of our guests. I want to thank Amaro. I knew I was going to mess it up when that was over. Armando. Welcome him, Brandon, John, and Coach Matt for being with us. I want to remind you, I'll be back with you next Sunday night. Episode number 2 of CJ Howard Show. We will have Tanner Escobar with me. I've got Dave Baker going to be with me because we got UK coming up on Saturday. I want to get the pregame scoop and everything. Try to get a hold of Jeff German. Hopefully, I can get a hold of him. And I'm going to try to get up with Morehead State football coach, the new one. I'm going to try to get up with him and talk with him. Hope so for next week. But we'll be back with you next Sunday night, 8 p.m. right here on our stations. You can see the CJ Harris Show. I also want to remind everybody, too, that you can go to my Facebook page. You can find the CJ Howard Talk Show page. I want you to like it. I want you to share it. I also want you to share it with everybody, family and friends, so that everybody can be a part of the CJ Howard Show. I want you to go to my YouTube page. Since I got my YouTube back up working, you can see the CJ Howard Show on my page. Go over there. I want you to like it. I want you to subscribe. And hopefully y'all go over there and it will tell you when we're coming live, so you can not forget about that. I want you to follow me on TikTok. Follow me on TikTok. If you've not done that, I do want you to do that. I want you to go over there. I want you to follow. I want you to like some of my videos. I'm trying to get to 1,000 subscribers because I eventually would love to put this show on TikTok. And I'm real close. So go over and help me out with that. Guys, if you would like to donate to this show, now I'm going to be honest. You don't have to. But equipment costs stuff. Stuff does cost money. If you guys would like to donate to the show, I would appreciate that. I can buy new equipment, better equipment, make this show even better. So if you want to help me out, I've got my Cash App. You can see that in my description of anything that I post. I want also remind everybody, too, that you can don't forget, we'll be back with you Sunday night. Okay. Thomas, give me your final thoughts, and then we'll get out of here.
Can't wait. Right around the corner, week 1. I don't know where we'll be, but I think as of the moment, we will be we got to reach out and get permission. They typically have let us in the past. We'll be at Letcher Central for Letcher Central Shelby Valley. They've got a new AD. I can't officially say that. And then I think we're also going to do the Floyd Central Paintsville game. So busy time. Next week for us, CJ, we're going to do this all over again because West Virginia football kicks off.
Yep.
So they'll start the following week on Thursday. So Thursday and Friday. So big time over the next 2 weeks. But we've got, I think we got something going on every night this week.
Yeah. So do not forget to subscribe, check out the D&D Sports Network. They got a lot of good stuff going on there. If you've not seen what they do, phenomenal work and phenomenal work continuing over there.
One more thing, CJ.
You keep
people ask all the time, say, well, why does this athlete get publicized and mine doesn't? Send information. You know, CJ, you're an admin on the page. You see the messages. We get a lot of information from coaches, ADs, parents. Once we get a message from a parent, we go to the school to validate. If it's true, we post it. So if you want your student athlete recognized, send the information. And one thing I got to shout out, I cannot tell you enough, pictures are important, CJ.
Yep,
we got to have pictures to go with articles. And it's great to have that professional photographer. But listen, we've all got these. They got pretty good cameras on them now. We can snap a picture after a game. So help us get the word out about your student athlete.
Thomas, do not leave me. I want to talk to you after we're off the air.
All right.
Again, come back to me Friday. Come back to me next Sunday night as you get set for another episode 2 of the CJ Harris Show. Also, don't forget, you can listen to Prairie Central has your Leslie County games on the radio on WSGS, WJMD, and WTQQ Sports starting Friday night. Check out your team there. This is CJ Harris. I put something new in my closing. It's last year I'd always say this is CJ Harris ran third heading problem. I still use that because I'm a big Joe Nuxall fan. But I've stole, and I give Casey Chisholm all. I put him in my notes. This is how I end every show from now on. This is CJ Harris running third, heading for home. Keep your feet on the ground and keep reaching for the stars. This is CJ Harris saying so long, everybody. We'll see you next Sunday night with another edition of the CJ Harris Show.